Today you're going to work through some more color mixing. After you've done your value scales and your color wheel, it's now time to get into a little bit more fun and funky colors and see what all you can do with just your primaries in white and black. You will need a pencil, a piece of paper, and your paint tray. Go ahead and get just a little bit of white, a little bit of red, a little bit of yellow, and a little bit of blue. So you actually won't need black for this activity, but you will need it later. But let's just wait to get that. So again, you'll need a pencil, your paper, your paint tray with red, yellow, blue, and white. Make sure that you just get a little bit of paint at a time, and then we're going to be ready to go. You will also need your paintbrush and a little bit of water and one of our styrofoam cups, as well as a paper towel. Make sure that you're not getting crazy messy, and whenever you clean off your brush that you're wiping it off on the edges of the cup into the cup first, and then you're drying it off a little bit with your paper towel. So as we get started, you are going to set your paper up. So how we're going to do this color mixing is we're going to have our main color that's going to be kind of like the base of what our final mixed color is going to be, the second color, and then the third color. So the main color, you'll see it's definitely where our mixed color has our bias towards. It's similar to the warm bias, the cool bias, and all of those terms that we talked about in color theory. And that's going to, once you add the main color, second color, and third color, that's going to create these really cool mixed colors that are going to make our work look unique. So to set up our paper, we need 5 rows of 4 boxes. So just watch really quick and you'll see as I go down my paper, I'm not using my ruler. I'm not that concerned about these being perfect little squares. They do need to be about an inch or so. So about 1 inch to 2 inch squares. And then I'm going to add a plus sign all the way down because it's kind of like a cool math problem where you're adding different components and different fractions and stuff of the different paint colors. So as I work through my paper, I'm going to continue adding these 5 rows and columns of boxes until I have 5 sets of 4 across. So you'll have 20 boxes total, but it's going to be 5 rows and 4 columns. The first color that we're going to work through mixing, we're going to call it watermelon. You can come up with some fun names on your own if you want to, and after you do this activity, you'll have a chance to make up your own mixing chart. So that'll be kind of fun. But this first one's watermelon. So I'm going to label each box with the colors that I'm going to add. Your base color is going to have the most weight and the most bias in this. So for our watermelon color, we're going to have red, white, and orange. Keep in mind, you're going to have to mix some of these, so think about your orange. We don't have an orange paint, so you're going to have to take your red and your yellow and mix that orange first, and then come in and add these combinations of colors. So I have my true red. I'm going to clean off my brush, and then I'm going to paint some white on here. You won't really be able to see the white because the white of my paper is here, but you will notice whenever I start mixing that orange that I'm going to have my nice orange color, my nice orange hue, in order to blend this really awesome pinky type watermelon color. So whenever you're thinking about on your final artworks what you want your colors to look like, sometimes it helps me to think about a reference or to even find my own kind of color chart or paint tips online or just somewhere around the room. That's very helpful. And that kind of gives you a reference of how to mix your colors. So you'll see here I'm mixing my red and my yellow to create my orange. And I'm going to get my nice, good, balanced orange. And then I'll come in and start mixing all of that together. As I work through mixing all these, I'm going to try to show you my paint tray. So you'll see here that I have my orange that I mixed, my red, and my white. So as I get all of these colors together, you're going to have to really think about if as you're mixing if it is turning into the color you want. And sometimes it's good to have a test paper to the side so that you can see how that looks or how that's functioning, or if you need to add more or less of another color in order to create the hue that you are hoping to get. So notice this is definitely more orangey, a little bit more candy looking than just our normal white and red pink. And it's more unique. So it's a really good way to make your artwork look more complex and more mature and well thought out. As always, I'm going to start cleaning out my brush and make sure that all of those pigments and all of that paint is cleaned off of it so that I'm not messing with the quality of other colors as I mix them, because you know we talked about how our brush is kind of like a sponge, like it can hold on to a lot of those colors. Now on to our next one. We are going to call this color Sunflower. So we're going to make a pretty rich yellow that's a little bit more subdued, which means less intense than our standard yellow. So to do this, we're going to start with yellow, and then we're going to add some orange and white. And again, you're going to have to mix your orange, but luckily you should have some left from your watermelon color, and that should be pretty helpful to you. So as you're painting, don't worry about making these absolutely perfect. I'm more concerned about you focusing on your color mixing and paying attention to how that works and how these colors are coming together. And I'm just more concerned about you testing this out and learning about how the paint works. Now that we have our sunflower color pretty much mixed, you'll see how that works and how that looks different and how you're able to get that unique color. You'll notice that I didn't paint the white on my box this time. I realize that you can't really even see it, so we're just going to pretend like that white paint is in that box. That's the white of the paper. On your paper, I do want you to paint it just so you get used to cleaning your brush and seeing what the quality of that looks like. So you can kind of see how the colors that we're mixing look much more unique and much more well thought out and just overall better than our colors that come straight from our paint jugs, or even just our secondary colors that we mix ourselves. So the next one we're going to do, we're going to call this Ocean. So this is going to be kind of a bluish green, but it's going to look really nice. So you're going to have blue, green, and white. So remember, green is another secondary color, so you're going to have to mix that on your own. So I would paint your blue first and then come in and mix your green. I know you're asking, why wouldn't I just go ahead and mix a blue-green? Well, doing them like this and breaking the colors down in this way are going to help us see how our mixed colors are made up. It's going to help us see the recipe for these, the equation for these, and sometimes you have to get your true green mixed first and then mix it with your blue, because you want to have a really good ratio of all of these colors that you're working with. Once you have your blue and then your green mixed and your white, you're going to be able to start adding this stuff together and creating a really awesome bluish green. These are going to be really good if you're doing anything with water, or if you're creating any sort of sky that you want to have a unique hue to it. The next color that we're going to mix is called Lime. I think this one will be the easiest of the 5 for you, just because it's something that you see typically. So again, it's called Lime, like lime green. So we're going to take a green and a yellow and a white to blend those together. And these are going to make a really pretty bright looking green. So I'm going to show you my palette as I'm mixing those again. And remember, you're going to have to mix your green first and make sure you get a really nice green especially at the beginning because that's going to be the foundation of this color. So see, I'm kind of adjusting it to where I can add more yellow and more green to get it to the color that I really want it. I really like this to make some good plants or some bright colors or anything like that. As you're thinking about making your unique colors, this is going to make your overall final painting, again, just look more mature, more complex, and more well thought out. Our last color, so we're already on our fifth one, is going to be maroon, as in M-A-R-O-O-N, maroon. And this is going to be purple and red and then white. So this one, why we're doing this color is because this can be pretty tough. And I've seen a lot of students get frustrated when trying to mix a maroon color. So first and foremost, just like the rest of our colors that we've blended, you have to make sure that your base color, your first color, so the one that's farthest to the left, is the right hue that you want before you start mixing with it. So we're going to get a really nice true purple, or in other words, violet. And purple and violets take a lot of work. You have to kind of test them and see how they look. So I'm pretty happy with this purple that I have. So I'm going to go ahead and paint that down. It's going to look pretty dark on your screen, but if you look at the chart that we have in the room, it's definitely the right hue of this. And so then after I get my purple added, I'm going to go ahead and get my red. And when I start mixing this one, it can get a little complicated, and you're going to have to tweak it a lot just to try to get it exactly as you want. And this is another situation where it's handy to have just a piece of scrap paper to the side to test it out before you start painting it on your paper. So you'll see that I'm still adding and mixing and adjusting what I'm doing until I put it down on the paper. So there's times whenever I mix paint that I even go back and I fix it at the end. So I'm not crazy about this maroon right now, so I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more red to it just to get it to be more of that true maroon that I'm going for. Once you finish your chart and you finish this maroon, you're going to have these 5 references that you can look back at. What I want you to do now is I want you to take some time to think through some colors, maybe research some colors that you want to try to create. Later this week I'll have some paint chips that you can try to match as a fun activity if you finish quickly. This is a really awesome thing to hold on to because then you can have it in reference to your final. You can see all of these awesome mixed colors that are unique and different and so much better than what the paint looks like when it first comes out of the paint jar or paint jug.